to
This
know.
call is being recorded.
Yeah.
Well, we got each other.
Mhm.
How are you doing?
Okay.
Okay. Is your pop still in Asia?
No, he is not.
Oh, good. I hope his trip went well. I thank you very much for joining me on homework evening. I will try to keep it briefer than normal so you can get back to what you need to do. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Well, first, a series of thanks. I'm revisiting some things again. The plastic screw story. Tell it to me in your own words, would you?
What do you mean, the plastic screw story?
Oh, well, your pop makes a point of it, and your dad makes a point of it. When you were very small, and he found a plastic screw in the lawn, and he thought it went on your bike, and you said, no, it goes over on this. Well, maybe I'll ask him about that some more. That's not something you recollect.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. Now, and again, just some small details. When you flew to China for the
Yeah.
business trip, what city did you fly into? In the major city, Shanghai? What do you recall?
We flew into Shanghai because there wasn't any direct flight, and then we flew to the jet.
That's what I figured. I was checking the map, and I figured that would be the city you'd fly into, and then by road from there.
Mhm.
The Chinese friend of your father's who owned the pottery, the ceramics place. When you first arrived there at his factory, do you recall? Did he meet you at the door? Did you go up and see him at the office, or do you recall the first interaction with him, or did you know him before?
I didn't know him before the trip, but I do. I believe he picked us up from the airport, but I would honestly double check with my dad because that's a little bit fuzzy. But I do remember him showing us the hotel because his family also like owns like part of the hotel that we were staying at. It was like filled with ceramics and things like that.
Yeah, the hotel. It how would you put it? It was medium sized, as you said before. It wasn't fancy, but it was nice. Was it?
Now that I think about it, it was a little fancy, but I'm sure we have pictures. I really don't know.
I think I've seen some. I'm interested. See, sometimes I'll be asking you things, and you'll think to yourself, he knows this already, or he saw the picture. Or there's been stuff. I'm trying to get your impressions, your particular impressions, because this book is by you. But it wasn't Western, or did it seem like a Western hotel? I think your father commented, or you commented. Now I have to look back. That it did seem to have like a doorman or a bellhop, or. But did it feel like a hotel you'd stay at in Chicago or New York?
Well, I mean, not exactly, just because it is in China and there's ceramics everywhere, but it did have like a little bit of a Western feel to it. We would eat at the hotel's restaurant pretty often, just because I was like really close, and it was just easier. And they would have French fries and Hawaiian pizza and
I remember reading in some of the notes that your two meals you seemed to order more often than others were the shrimp fried rice and the Hawaiian pizza.
Yeah.
And did you recall any quotes from your Chinese friend or anything he said to you about anything at any point?
Not really.
No. And don't feel bad. I'm asking you things that most people wouldn't remember, but sometimes things stick, and sometimes things stick in the memory. and you just never know, and you have to. Maybe you're father for this. I don't know. Do you remember the name of the hotel?
No, I'm really sorry. I don't really remember.
Or the name of his factory. I'll get that from you.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there are a lot of hotels in that town. I did a quick check, and there's about 36 hotels in that town of various sizes and such. So it could have been any number of that. So you arrive at the studio, at the friend's studio. Did somebody give you a tour, or did you?
Yeah, we got a tour.
And it was a big place, 4 stories tall. It's like a bunch of oh, doggone it! What was the name of the studio in Skokie?
Bug house.
Bug house, like a bunch of bug houses put together, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, a lot of very large bug houses put together.
A lot of very large, okay. And bustling with people, and we'll go back to that. And you settled. You're shown a workplace where you could work, right? And just put in your own words, what did you need to make there? What did you need to create? What physically did you make?
Well, I mainly used the wheel a lot. Sometimes I would use sometimes I'd use sometimes I'd just make random things by hand. But a lot of the times I'd use the wheel just to get a general feel of what the body of the cup is going to look like.
So you were making, and you were creating it out of you were making. The idea was that you were going to go visit a number of places that would manufacture it, and what were you making to take to them, to show to them?
Well, I mean, a lot of it was also drawings. But, again, I'm really sorry, to be honest. I really do not.
Did you work? Did you work with a computer at all, or was it just all by hand? Everything. I got the impression everything's pretty much by hand there.
Well, I mean, a lot of the times it was like digital drawings that we made beforehand before coming to China.
Right.
But yeah, that was most of it, and then we would point with our fingers, like, for the molds, and yeah.
Molds made out of wax, right?
No, the molds were made out of plaster.
Out of plaster molds, so that you could show them the drawings and the mold, and they'd have an idea of what you wanted and how many you wanted of them, and it was just a question of finding just the right one. Did you ever take any time out and make a cat or a bowl, or just for fun?
Yeah, I did do that a pretty good amount. Yeah, I sometimes I just play around with the wheel, and like I just make a random bowl, and yeah.
And your father would be there working on the drawings and with you on various things.
Yep.
And what did your basic chores there were working at the studio and visiting a number of the factories. Did you have any time to just have fun? What did you do for fun? Anything, or was it strictly business?
I mean, a lot of the times we would just stay in the hotel room because first off, it was air conditioned.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And you were working hard.
Yeah, I would take a cold shower a lot, which is something I do very rarely.
You wouldn't go out and see a movie or anything like that, or? for fun?
Yeah, we would there was like down the like we would go down the street and then at this corner and then turn and then turn the other way, and then there's like this kind of like strip of shopping things. And we saw like an Ice Age movie.
Oh, in Chinese.
Yeah, but there were English subtitles, so.
There is.
Oh wait, no, never mind. It was in English and then in the Chinese subtitles, so. Yeah.
For the Chinese audience, I guess they just didn't want to. It's a lot of trouble to dub a whole movie. It's easier to do subtitles if it's a foreign movie, and
yeah.
And then you would be going and you'd go to these various different. Do you remember how many factories you visited? You were there a couple of weeks. How many factories you visited?
Oof. Oh God.
Well, like more than 6 or fewer than 6, or
I'd say it was fewer than 6.
Okay. And were they all pretty much alike? I know I have seen you describe it. It's like a garage. They were kind of small 2-story affairs, and there were various descriptions of them. But were they all pretty much alike, or were?
Well, I mean, in terms of, well, I mean, like, well, I mean, like, in terms of size, it was definitely different, but, when it came to, things, like, when it came to, things like, pottery, I mean, it was sort of different.
I guess I'm saying there, or I guess what I was thinking of when I was asking the question was, they were all alike in the sense that there wasn't a lot of machinery or computers or stuff. It was people working with their hands, handmade stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, doubling back a little bit, you made friends, I guess. Somebody sort of mentored you both. A guy from Wisconsin who was over there learning ceramics and such. Do you remember him? Pardon me? I'm sorry. I think your father mentioned that there was a young fellow from Wisconsin who sort of helped show you the ropes or something like that.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen him again, or have you kept in touch with him at all?
We've kept in touch after a few months after the trip to China, but then we kind of lost touch. So yeah.
Okay. Was he still in China when you kept in touch, or did he come back here?
He was like he came back here and then went back to China as far as I know, and then went back to China for a bit as far as I know.
Do you remember his name, even his first name, or?
I think it started with a J, but then again, I could totally be wrong.
That might be something you get from your dad. So what finally your father, you were working, must have been kind of fun working with your father so closely. Even earlier than the trip, he went over to Bug House a few times and worked with you on the things, right?
Huh? What? I'm really sorry.
The first trip to Bug House to make your first kangaroo cup was with your Aunt Kate, but later on, your dad came over to Bug House with you a couple of times, didn't he?
Yes.
working on the prototypes. It must have been fun, kind of fun working with your father on this project, on all these things together.
Yeah.
So you'd go to these factories, and your father would and you would discuss with the owners what you wanted. And how did you finally decide on, or is this again for your father, but did you finally decide on this particular one factory to place the order at?
Huh? What? I'm really sorry. I keep getting sidetracked.
How did you visited a few factories to kind of see who would make it maybe for you, take the estimate. How did you finally decide on this one particular factory? Again, the name of the factory, that's maybe something I get from your dad too. But how did your dad come? Was it somebody who'd met your price, or just you like the quality of their work the best, or?
Well, a lot of it was if they were, a lot of it was like they if they like really knew what they were doing, and like and of course price, but it was also like the quality of how we thought it's going to turn out, and things like that.
Okay. And then you made the deal, and it was time to come home. Did you celebrate in any way? Or you just want to get on the plane and get home?
I kind of, at that point, I kind of just wanted to get home.
What did your father say when you finally? I forgot how. I can't. I don't know. I have to look it up. How many the initial order of cups? What was the initial order of cups? Do you recall how many?
Excuse me. I'm sorry.
The initial order. The initial order of cups. How many was that, or do you remember that they were supposed to make for you?
Yeah, no, I'm really sorry. I don't really remember.
Well, I'll be talking with your dad as time goes on, and I'll send him some queries too, because he'll remember things you don't remember, and you'll remember things he doesn't remember. That's how it works. But did your father say, "Well, now we're cooking," or anything like that when you finally were coming home? Any comment you recall his making that you'd gone over quite a hurdle? You'd made a trip to China, 7,500 miles, and spent 2 weeks, and now suddenly you were awaiting shipment of your first batch of cups. So did he say anything at that point, or did you say something to him?
He said like really, you just took your first business trip. And yeah, like yeah.
I mean, this whole trip, I'm sure it was exciting. You've been to China before, but I'm sure it was a business trip. It was exciting, and a little overwhelming too, I suppose, at times.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, sorry, I'm checking through my notes here. And again, your Aunt Kate had she had taken you to Bug House before that, or was that your first time at Bug House? Because I know she worked a lot. You know, she had that basement workshop, and she did a lot of arts and crafts. Had she taken you to Bug House before?
She took me there once just for like a preview to see like what it was about, sort of, I guess you could call it a preview. And then like I guess like a few weeks after I started going.
Okay. And I'm sorry, I'm going to be bouncing around on you in my notes here, but and again, sometimes you'll find the questions repetitive. But when your grandpa took the first drink, you know, I made this for you, and he took his first drink, and it worked. And you don't recall? Did he just say thank you, or did he hug you, or did he do anything?
I don't really remember.
Okay. And you made the prototypes. Uh, I'm sorry, I just have to check something.
It's okay.
Jingde, I hope I pronounced it correctly. Jingdezhen, the town, the city.
Yeah, I think Jingdezhen, but then again, I could be wrong. So,
It's a big city. It's almost as it's almost as big as Chicago. But I was surprised. Of course, China has 4 times as many people as the United States, and it has a lot of big cities I've not heard of. And it is the ceramics capital of China.
The world.
As I understand, even the street lamp posts are in China, are in ceramic.
It's really the ceramics capital of the world, I'd honestly say. But
which is why you went there, of course.
No, like basically everything was made of ceramic. There was like lamp posts and there was like lamp posts and garbage cans and street lights. They were made of porcelain. There was actually this giant dragon that was made out of like porcelain plate.
Oh, like a statue? Like in a park or on a street corner, or?
It was like everywhere. Well, like the dragon.
The dragon, yes.
It was sort of like, I want to say, like in the middle of the specific area, I want to say, but I don't
like
really.
A square or something. And was it green? I imagine it was green. Our dragon's green. Well, one thing that surprised me, I always think, when I think of ceramics, I think of them as delicate. And I just don't see how a street lamp post would take the weather and the wear and tear very well, but I guess they do, huh?
Well, I mean, maybe it was porcelain too, but yeah.
Well, even porcelain is always strikes me as delicate. I mean, if I drop porcelain on the floor, it shatters.
Yeah. Well, they could have been made out of porcelain, honestly.
Maybe they put some sort of coating on it too. It just struck me that sounds very pretty. I Google pictured as much of the town as I could. There wasn't really a whole lot available. In fact, that shows how porcelain is important there, because if you Google image that city, you get far more pictures of the factories and the people making porcelain than you do of the streets and such. But it's not a city with a big skyline like Chicago, is it? It's more of like it's a village that goes on forever, isn't it? I mean, there are some buildings that go up a number of stories, but it doesn't have this big skyline that looms over you like Chicago is, at best I could tell.
Yeah.
That so?
I mean, yeah, it's I wouldn't say it's like a skyline city.
Well, I mean, you know how Chicago is. You'd look toward Chicago and you see all these big 50, 80, 100-story skyscrapers. And that I couldn't find anything like that about Jingdezhen. It seemed more like a lower city that's spread out.
Yeah.
More like Paris, or Paris doesn't have any skyscrapers to speak of. And it's a big town. And when you place the order, and I'm just filling in the details here. Was it boring? I mean, you were working. Did you take a lot of break? I mean, I'm just thinking if I were, you were about 9 at the time. That's kind of a rough trip in a way. You're working all day on prototypes and such, or did you enjoy it?
I mean, I do. I mean, like, I will admit that I do kind of drift off a lot. I get distracted pretty easily,
Sure.
but
And especially, I mean, then you were 9. But it's something you sort of enjoyed. I mean, I guess there's no saying that when it comes time in your life to decide what to do for a living, find something, if you can, find something you enjoy doing, then you'll never have to work a day in your life because you enjoy what you're doing. You enjoyed the invention of it, you enjoyed the idea of it, you enjoyed doing
yeah, I did.
good,
but
did you enjoy the actual all that work?
Making making the invention, but then again, like, it was 9. I was kind of like just drifting off a lot, and I honestly still do that sometimes.
Well, you've got imagination. You're still quite young too, but my goodness, I mean, did you ever stop and think that just from a simple little drawing you made on the dining room table in your grandpa's, you were suddenly in China? That's quite a jump. That's quite a jump. What did your friends say? Did you talk much about with your school friends when you were making this invention and you're heading off to? Of course, it was summer. You aren't in school, but did you talk with your friends much about this invention, this idea?
Did I talk much about the invention? Or
yeah, I mean, when you're talking with your friends at school, did you mention to them that you're going to be going to China making a cup?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, no, not at all. I never talked about it.
Well, you said you were particularly shy in those days.
Yeah.
But I don't know whether kids talk, but okay. Now, I'm just kind of cleaning up at this area that we've been talking about, and I've got pretty much what I need, except some things from your father, and then we move on. So I can let you get back to your homework.
All right.
And is next Sunday good for you?
Yep.
Okay. What's the good time in the afternoon for you? Earlier or later?
4 is okay.
Pardon me? 1?
4 is okay.
Oh, you prefer 4 to 1?
Yeah.
Okay. And again, if something comes up, I'm very flexible, and we're just kind of plugging along here. I'm writing ahead of where we've been talking about this area. I'm just trying to, I write and then I go back and it's back and fill, go back and fill holes or flesh out things, and so I backtrack a lot. So I hope it's not too boring for you. I hope it's not too boring for you. Okay, well, and I'll query your dad about those specifics of the names. It's just nice if it's recalled, that we stayed at the hotel, whatever, names like that. Yeah. Precise information helps give the reader a feel of what. Yeah, one other quick question. The walk, 3/4 mile walk, very hot. Nobody liked it. Even some Chinese people were commenting they didn't like it. Was it a busy walk, crowded streets, or were the streets not too crowded for that particular route, or what was it like on that walk?
To be honest, I wouldn't even call it a street. there weren't really that many people. There,
Uh-huh.
most of the time, it was really just my dad and I walking back and
Well, I
forth.
mean, along a
But
sidewalk on a street, or across a field, or how did that work?
sort of like a path paved out. Like there wasn't any concrete. It was just kind of dust. Um,
Oh,
and we'd walk
dusty
along
and
the
hot.
side of it. Yes, it was very, very hot.
Yeah. But was the hotel toward the middle of the city, or off on the edge, or did you even have a sense of that?
I really do not know. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. You're doing very well. I mean, you remember a lot of things, and as I say, you were 9, and this was some years ago, and the human brain, even a very intelligent one, does not retain a lot of detail. Sometimes just certain moments. And again, feel free to email me if any ideas pop into your head about what you saw or did at any point in this story.
Okay.
Okay. Well, have fun with your homework, and we'll both get back to work.
Yeah. All right.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.